We just can't help ourselves. It seems like the human race is so good at bringing our worst nightmares to fruition. Who can better tell us about this than one of the most badass women of all time? I, of course, am talking about Sarah Connor, the mother of the Savior from the Terminator franchise. I chose to look at Sarah instead of her son John Connor because we all know what the leader of the Resistance looks like, growing up with Terminators in your life and getting used to them. But Sarah is just like us. She grew up in a normal world and had the prospect of Judgment Day thrust upon her. And it takes immense courage to step up when you know that you may be carrying the savior of mankind. Even just to believe such a tall tale takes faith, but then to see with your own eyes and be able to steel yourself, harden your mind and body, then put them to task, shows the evolution of the human spirit. I understand she is a pure work of fiction, but on this channel we look at these characters as if they were real because they have had such an impact on our lives. What can be more real than that? In this video, we will be looking at 3 quotes by Sarah to help put the danger of the path we are on into perspective. Of course, I mean the path of unchecked technology, because it is bad enough having to deal with human beings, but then add entities who can do almost everything more efficiently than we can. Well, then you are begging for our extinction. Sarah Connor is a central character in the Terminator franchise, known for her evolution from an ordinary woman to a fierce warrior. Initially introduced in the 1984 film The Terminator, Sarah is depicted as a vulnerable and unsuspecting young woman whose life is upended when a cyborg assassin, the Terminator, is sent back in time to kill her. She is the mother of John Connor, the future leader of the human resistance in a post-apocalyptic war against machines. Over the course of the series, Sarah transforms into a tough, resourceful, and determined figure, prepared to do whatever it takes to protect her son and ensure the survival of humanity. Her character is defined by her fierce maternal instincts, unyielding resilience, and eventual role as a key figure in the fight against Skynet, the rogue AI system that leads the machine uprising. Let's take a look at her words, which will fill us with a healthy amount of fear, while at the same time stoking anger, caution, and responsibility. Quote number 1. The unknown future rolls toward us. I face it, for the first time, with a sense of hope. Because if a machine, a Terminator, can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too. This quote is Sarah's wishful thinking, which shares the quintessential trait that makes human beings so powerful: hope in the face of insurmountable odds. She tries to get the point across that if a cold, heartless machine can transform ones and zeros into a code that imitates empathy and caring, then the human race is not so doomed after all. John Connor is growing up with his own Terminator that has been sent back to actually protect him from the next wave of Terminators trying to kill him. He develops a bond with this machine, and I believe that this time in his life is absolutely paramount in his journey to becoming the leader of the human resistance, because he then truly knows the mind of a Terminator better than any other human, even its creators. Sarah looks at mankind as I tend to do nowadays, with a reluctant nihilism, spawned by the actions of people who act like what they are doing is in the best interest of all, but we all know it is only in the best interest of their wallets and agendas. A cyborg is governed by a series of codes, put together to elicit a certain response, but we have not yet seen true artificial intelligence. The AI we are dealing with now is in its infancy state, but is still ridiculously impressive and terrifying, but we still have to program it. When we truly cross the line and play God, we'll be like in the movie Chappie, when these machines believe they are sentient and act of their own accord, just like us. Some will be kind and loving, some will be hateful, and just like humans, I believe most will be a mixed bag, capable of anything on their best and worst days. If a cyborg can truly evolve emotions, is it just mimicking? Or is there true development there? Living in these gray times, where the prices of everything seems to keep climbing but the wage stays the same, our solution is to put more people out of work by replacing them. Yes, that will definitely help the situation. It seems that the worst of us are always the ones who have the most power, and I only say this because it is what I can see in front of me. If this were not the case, then the world would not always be in such turmoil. And it takes 2 things to do this: proper finances and ambition. If the ones in power today were truly out for the betterment of mankind, then we would see it. We would not see the reflections of their giant egos and their bids for power, because just as the old saying goes, everyone wants to rule the world. The problem is that the best of us do not want the job to succumb to a level beyond their morals, so they can force their views and wants on others, because that is what modern leaders do. Think about it. We get 4 years of one man. He comes along and does what he wants. Then when he leaves, another takes his place, repealing everything that man did, essentially hindering the evolution of a country based on how you feel about that person. The problem is, as I see it, is that if a machine can truly gain intelligence, then he will be like us, developing a distinct personality, and we will be at the mercy of the worst of them, just like we are with certain people in today's society. I want to have hope, but I don't think mankind can actually change in these times. People are so concerned with survival, both ideological and financial, that our minds are not ready, not in the place for change, and that is why the majority of us seek oblivion in some way or another. We are who we are as a species. The only thing we can hope for is to pray for a forced evolution, where we work with our environment, instead of trying to always tame it and each other. Number 2, the Terminator would never stop. It would never leave him, and it would never hurt him, never shout at him, or get drunk and hit him, or say it was too busy to spend time with him. It would always be there, and it would die to protect him. Of all the would-be fathers who came and went over the years, this machine, was the only one who measured up. In an insane world, it was the sanest choice. This quote speaks volumes about Sarah's transformation. She has had her apotheosis. She now has faith in the Terminator as a protector for John, and gives it the most important thing a human can bestow: trust. What does that say about men? Nothing flattering anyways, because if she would rather take a cyborg as a surrogate father figure for John, then either she picks the wrong man, or we all have problems. What she is saying makes sense though on all levels, because this Terminator demonstrates all of the father-like qualities a woman wants in a man. But if we are honest with ourselves, in today's world, many men not only lack, but do not want to gain. She hits on a very interesting point here, because in a not-so-distant future, where cyborgs will be part of our everyday lives, doing all sorts of menial tasks, it is not far from the realm of possibility that they will be 10 times more efficient than the average man. They will not need time off or get angry because they have to work on a holiday. They simply are the better business option, and we are making this way too easy for them to replace us. Men will be outshined by machine left and right, and women will be replaced with them as despondent men seek to gain companionship in a lonely world. This is already happening today, and is a very sad commentary on the mind of the modern man. He is now having full-on relationships with AI, and if you ask me, the first robot model that actually fully fills the desires of man, well, that will be a recession-proof industry if I have ever seen one. Birth rates are already declining, and men are shying away from the notion of family at alarming rates. This may be a great thing for the planet, because it can be said that we need a culling to reverse the damage we have done, but we will also not be able to replace generations at a time. This type of future seems to be all negative and is a scary place, but we might as well get used to it, because it is already here, and unless a revolution happens to put a leash on all this unchecked tech, then we will be creating ourselves right into extinction. Well, at least we will be doing it with great pleasure and laziness, right? Is there anything good to be had here? On a menial level, yes. Having all the more tools to fold our laundry and do the dishes, but when that starts turning into weapons and destruction, then we have written our own eulogy. People are lazy enough, it seems now, but let their every need be met by artificials, and the world's problems will seem right out of the sci-fi movie, Surrogates, where human beings do not have to use their own bodies for anything anymore, thus living life, but not physically living it. This is all very fascinating though, and it never ceases to amaze me what people are capable of, but I just wish they would think about the ramifications, instead of how cool it would be, right? Because we all want to be the one to rediscover fire. This quote actually blows the mind, because it is actually peering into the future, showing that if we continue down this path, machines will be raising the next 10 generations, as we see the detrimental effects as a generation today raised by their iPads. Our final quote sums up the woman. Yeah, right. How are you supposed to know? Men like you built the hydrogen bomb. Men like you thought it up. You think you're so creative. You don't know what it's like to really create something, to create a life, to feel it growing inside you. All you know how to create is death and destruction. This quote rails against the ambition of man, as Sarah harangues Miles Dyson for his part in creating the death of mankind. I feel that these so-called trailblazers, who want to reach amazing feats, should have to get the permission of the human race before doing things that can affect the rest of us. It is just like the idea of drilling for oil on the moon. Your greedy actions could set off a chain of events that cannot be reversed and could have ramifications beyond your comprehension. These types of decisions should not be able to be made by single individuals just because they can afford it. I am honestly tired of paying for the mistakes of others who thought they knew what was best for all mankind. Can humans really change? From emotional, petty, violent individuals into peace-loving, environment-saving hopes for the future? That will only happen if people's basic needs are met. And when there are too many people and not enough resources, and people have to steal for their next meal, then these existential questions are met with, who cares? I am hungry. I am torn on this issue, because me personally, I am a man who obviously loves to explore, discover, dive deeper than the Marianas Trench, but at the same time, I have a reverence for the simple doing of things in life, and do not want other people paying for the mistakes that the exploration of my wants will bring. I do want to believe that we can change as a species. That is why I started this channel, so we can talk about strife and understand the great mystery through conversation and introspection. But when you have closed the book just by looking at its cover, then you will never be able to evolve. To understand the motivations of human beings is not difficult, especially what drives these men, because it is men who save the world, preserve it, and destroy it. If we are to truly leap forward into this time of great unknown, then we must not do so at the expense of others. We cannot do things unilaterally. We must also think of who is going to suffer the consequences of my ambition. And until that hits home, I believe I have the reluctant hope of Sarah Connor. So what can we learn from these unbelievably poignant words of Sarah Connor? AI is simply a tool, just like anything else. I use it to help me create this video. We tend to take the good and forget about the bad, because the problem is, and the Terminator can show us this, is that no matter what the average man will use something for, there will always be men looking to take it a step further for profit, hence taking a very innocently fascinating thing to the dark side. This is what comes to mind when I see the military applications that we are seeing with AI capabilities, and we essentially anthropomorphize pieces of metal. We truly cannot help ourselves. It is said that nothing pushes mankind forward more than conflict and war. There is just something about killing our fellow man that motivates us into our greatest inventions. But we also get unexpected byproducts, such as the magnetron, leading to microwave ovens, and powdered cheese, leading to Cheetos, were all militarily inspired. I understand how healthy competition drives us to excel, like it did with the space race. But then again, those were rockets derived from war that propelled man's first steps into the stars, were brought to life by Wernher von Braun in World War II. We are a self-fulfilling prophecy. It is simply uncanny how we have written our own destruction through the works of fiction, then been inspired enough to bring those ideas to life in the real world is nothing short of amazing. I just wish it was used for the betterment of mankind. It is a dual-edged sword, because it is the ambition of men that will figure out the cure for cancer or solve world hunger. But I feel that if that goal is not under some type of pretense, then it will not happen anytime soon. We know what these inventions can and will do to us, and if one thing we can count on in this life is that if it can get into the wrong hands, it will. How ironic would it be that humanity gets wiped out and beings from another planet come upon the Terminator movies in the sands? They will say that these beings were so stupid that they predicted their own demise 10 times over. They knew it, enjoyed it, laughed at it, and then watched as it happened. The arms race of the future is truly the cash grab of the present, and so many people are profiting that the rest of us are simply bystanders, watching this car wreck happen before our eyes, but are helpless to stop it. I wish the best of us had control of these things and could keep human tethers to this tech, keeping it in the hands of good men with fail-safes in place. So is there a solution to this? Can we defy our nature and stop this self-fulfilling prophecy from happening? It would seem all the average man can do is keep his head, keep his frame, and use his talents to voice his opinions when he can, and maybe hope that there will be enough decent-minded individuals involved to understand what they are unleashing on the rest of us. Sometimes I want to slap these people back to common sense, but it would not do any good. Their senses have left them on the quest for fame, money, and immortality, which is what happens when your name lives on forever. We will look ridiculous getting wiped out by something we create to help us. Compounding it by showing this depiction of assassination countless times in television and film, it is unbelievable. Simply akin to watching the Terminator on the big screen. We see it, we know it, and it happens anyways. Instead of trying to close Pandora's box, we should prevent the opening in the first place. I will never stop sharing my views through vaunted characters like Sarah Connor. This is for the like-minded human who puts his or her own common sense over the trends of the masses, because one thing you can definitely count on.
I'll be back.